And now on our Newsmaker line, live with us, State Senator Tom O'Mara. Senator, thank you for calling in.
Good morning, Brian. Thanks for having me on.
Well, Senator O'Mara, Phase 1 is today. Wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Finally, I'm glad we're there. I wish we were opening more than we are right now. I think we're able to do more safely, given the circumstances. I think that this is a small step with construction and manufacturing that, frankly, in my opinion, should have been operating all along. I think they can do so safely and following the guidelines. So, looking forward to things going smoothly and hopefully getting to Phase 2 as soon as possible to expand further business opportunities, get more commerce going in our region.
Senator O'Mara, I wanted to get your thoughts on this. Some of the conservative talk show hosts have been saying that they predict that the Democrat governors will go as slow as possible on reopening things. I may have asked you this before. I know I've asked this of Assemblyman Palmisano. The talk show hosts are saying the Democrat governors across the country will be very slow to open up anything because they want to hurt the Trump economy. Do you think that's the case in New York State with Governor Cuomo?
Gosh, I certainly hope not. I've heard that as well, but that's just it's devastating to the economy, what's going on here in New York and everywhere else. And if that's really the case, I think that's pretty cynical thinking. I really hope that is not in anybody's mind doing it. I think certainly the blue state governors, they're typically more highly populated states like New York and California, so that they have had more density issues and probably are more concerned with reopening. I think the New York City region in New York, it's probably good that's following. We'll be following other regions in New York as far as reopening goes because we don't have the density around other areas of the state. But still, even so, with manufacturing and construction really being the Phase 1 things, I think those would even be appropriate in the more urban areas of the state that have had bigger problems. They're generally most manufacturing these days is pretty spacious. There's certainly some, like the food processing plants that we've heard of where people actually work elbow to elbow still. Those are certainly of greater concern and should be looked at. But, I really still get back to my perspective on this, and that is we should be looking at opening businesses that can reasonably operate under these safety precautions and protocols that we've talked about for months now, rather than saying a whole industry can reopen. Let's look at things more individually and say, can you do it safely so that your employees are properly spaced and can have proper safety precautions so that operations can be done safely. I see no more difference in people going into a retail store that has not been allowed to open. Even under Phase 1 here, the curbside pickup. Who's going to go to a shoe store and say, bring out a couple pairs of shoes for me to try on the sidewalk or in my car here? It's a little ridiculous. You can go into Walmart and try on shoes and other things, and that's been done safely in our area. And I think it's time to move forward with some other types of business operations.
Yes, in fact, it's interesting that you bring that up because the Steuben County Legislature and Steuben County Manager Jack Wheeler put out a statement this week, and they said that the big box stores have been allowed to function because they were deemed essential. And Mayor Buckley was on yesterday, and he talked about that a little bit. He said they are selling other things besides shoes, But there is that inconsistency there that you just mentioned, Senator O'Mara, and the Steuben County Legislature made a big point of that recently. Do you think that's getting listened to by Albany?
Well, not so far. They're just putting things in broad categories. It's discouraging to see such narrow-mindedness on keeping things in large categories. But, first I will say, thank God we've had stores like Walmart, Lowe's, and Home Depot that we've been able to have some commerce going and generating some sales tax in our regions. But for 2 months now, that's all there's been, and those parking lots have been like the Friday after Thanksgiving, virtually every day, with big crowds at them, and that's been operated safely. I think it's an unfair advantage that Wegmans and Walmart can sell flowers, let your local florist can't be open. That Lowe's and Home Depot and even Walmart sell plants and shrubs and trees to do landscaping with, but your locally owned small business nursery can't be doing that. There's so many examples like that just don't equate out to that would be a dangerous thing to be doing.
State Senator Tom O'Mara with us in this half hour. Senator, your thoughts on Livingston County and Steuben County being open, with the Finger Lakes and Southern Tier regions being reopened, but Allegheny County staying closed because of the Western New York region staying closed. With Allegheny County being so close by, Assemblyman Giglio and Assemblyman Palmisano have both said that Allegheny County should not be lumped in with Erie County. I wondered if you wanted to weigh in on that.
I feel bad about that. It doesn't make sense, to be following strict geographic limitations on what's based on our prior regional economic development zones. We're not going at this as an economic development aspect. It's really, just get back to it again, what can safely be reopened and operated. Poor Allegheny County and other counties across the state that are right next to a region that's opening. It's unfortunate that, the western region does contain Buffalo, the second largest city in New York, and that has its urban problems, which are bringing the numbers up. We were fortunate in the Finger Lakes region that Rochester didn't hold it down, but we've seen Albany area has had that, and the Hudson Valley has had those issues. So I would like to see more flexibility in a county like Allegheny or Cattaraugus to be able to, even Chautauqua, to be able to open. They're certainly more like us here in Steuben County and Chemung County, I think, than they are like Buffalo in Erie County.
Talking to State Senator Tom O'Mara on Newsmaker. Senator, are you still getting phone calls at your office about the unemployment claims not being taken care of quickly enough?
Absolutely. They're nonstop. I'm getting inquiries on the phone, by email, through social media, any means possible. There's a lot of people that still have not gotten responses. Can't determine whether their application has been properly received, whether it's being acted upon, what the stage it's at. We're 8 weeks now with individuals and families going without a paycheck, and it's just not right. Certainly the demands on the system have been overwhelming, but the system was antiquated. It shouldn't have been in the shape it was in to begin with. It was a 1985-era computer system at the state. It was still a DOS-based platform. So it is extremely frustrating. My office is working all day, every day on these claims, trying to help shepherd them through the Department of Labor. But we have our limitations too. We're not allowed in the system. We can't work directly in the system, working on the claims for approval. We refer to the Department of Labor from my office and hope that individual gets to the top of somebody's list and they get a call back. But it has been brutal for so many people and families that going 2 months without any income. Now, I've worked a couple of the Southern Tier Food Bank drive-thrus now, and the demand is great. It's overwhelming, our food bank system, and the number of people that come through when a food bank is scheduled. The slots are all signed up ahead of time, 500 slots per food bank, and it's just one car after another for hours coming through, getting groceries to help feed their family.
Talking to State Senator Tom O'Mara. We'll be back in just a moment. When we get back, we'll talk about nursing homes. Stay with us.
Mullen Factory Direct Floor Covering has been serving this area for many years. During life's ups and downs, we've never quite experienced anything like this. There's no official day or time set for us all to go back to business as usual, but Mullins wants you to know they're there for you and your flooring projects. And it's also a good time to say thanks to all the loyal customers and remind you to support all area local small businesses to help them stay afloat during this unprecedented time. Be safe and stay healthy. From your friends at Mullen Factory Direct Floor Covering in Almond.
Maple City Savings wants the Hornell area to know they are here to assist you with your banking needs even in these uncertain times. Their ATMs are available 24/7 for withdrawals and deposits. Their drive-ups remain open for deposits, withdrawals, and loan payments during normal hours. Over the phone, they can assist with any issues related to purchases, online transactions, loan payment transfers, and debit card processing questions. Phone 607-324-1822. With online banking at MapleCitySavings.com, they offer commercial ACH transfers, bill pay, e-statements, mobile and merchant deposits, and so much more. They even offer online deposit account openings for existing and new customers. Also online, you'll be able to complete a mortgage application or request a pre-qualification so you can shop for your new home. They've been serving the local community since 1906 and are here to stay. Maple City Savings Bank, FDIC insured, and an equal housing lender.
Back with State Senator Tom O'Mara. Yesterday, the senator issued a statement. O'Mara and colleagues renew a call for independent investigation of COVID-19 nursing home crisis. O'Mara said, the front lines of this nursing home crisis is in Steuben County and other hot spots throughout New York State. It's led to important shifts in state policies, but it's also highlighted the frustration at the local level with the response of the Cuomo administration and overall state policies. We repeatedly called for aggressive and decisive actions by the state health department to test, isolate, and prevent spread, but kept running into roadblocks. Senator O'Mara, this morning, the New York Post has a story that Governor Andrew Cuomo is calling these calls for an investigation, a gratuitous swipe against him. Your thoughts?
There's nothing gratuitous about thousands and thousands of nursing home residents putting in jeopardy at exposure to COVID-19 based on the determinations of himself and his Department of Health in New York State, having put out an order that nursing homes had to accept COVID-positive patients from hospitals, regardless of whether they were positive or pending a test result. They couldn't ask if a patient had COVID, and that nursing home was required to take the patient in. When we knew from the beginning, before we had our first case in the United States, and before we had our first case in New York, that the elderly were the most at risk with this. It's just unconscionable to me that he would have that out there. And to say that this is gratuitous politics it just shows how thin-skinned Governor Cuomo is. The other day, Senator Patty Ritchie from the Watertown area, was complaining desperately about the unemployment system and how bad that is, and how bad her office is being impacted by it, with so many individuals not getting it. And the governor turned around and called her a cheap politician taking a cheap shot. If that's his attitude every time somebody points out a flaw in how he's operating under this pandemic, which, by and large, the governor at the outset of this, I think, other than, the nursing home situation and the unemployment situation, and probably the initial call to send the National Guard out to get our ventilators from upstate in PPE to redistribute it elsewhere around the state, a few missteps. Overall, the handling of the situation has gone very well, and he certainly does a good job with his shows every day on TV. He's a good presenter of the situation, very calming. But to not be able to take any criticism, in the position that he's in, is unfortunate, and it's not helping the situation. There needs to be some acknowledgement that, we haven't done everything perfectly, and it's been a very difficult and emergency situation. But our job in the legislature is to advocate for our constituency. And that's what I've been doing together with my colleagues in the state legislature. And that's all we're doing, is pointing out where we think things can be done better, whether it's on the economic reopening of our state or these issues of nursing homes or unemployment issues. They need to be dealt with. They need to be responded to. And if the governor needs to be pressured to put more attention to these areas, then that's exactly what I'm here to do.
Senator O'Mara, when the governor decided to allow that being COVID-19 positive patients to be put in nursing homes and nobody being able to question it at the nursing home level, when you look at that, is Governor Cuomo listening to Anthony Fauci on that, or the state health commissioner Howard Zucker maybe more? Who do you look to as far as who made that decision?
Well, my understanding is that policy and rule as far as accepting COVID-positive patients and further allowing COVID-positive staff to return to work in these nursing homes, while they were asymptomatic, is not a federal guideline or something they're following at the federal level. This is something that the governor and his health commissioner did on their own. I think it was a huge mistake with this most vulnerable population we had. It's been said that it's akin to lighting a match, throwing it on a dry grass field with a breeze blowing it through, is how quickly this moves. It's something that was here in New York. I understand some other states had similar policies, but the governor has said all along from the beginning they need to get their own PPEs. They need to do their own testing. We fought very hard, and we were frankly leaders in the state on this nursing home issue right here in Steuben County, with Jack Wheeler, the county manager, with the county Department of Health. Our whole team that we worked together here: Congressman Reed, Assemblyman Palmisano, and Marjorie Burns, representing the area, and Mayor Buckley, on repeated phone calls asking, why are you sending these patients in? Why are staff being allowed to return to work that are COVID positive? We want to test. We want to test everybody in the nursing home, in Hornell Gardens to start with, and being told by the Department of Health that you in the county, you have to find your own tests. We're not giving you tests to do that, to test everybody. And to his credit, Jack Wheeler went around the state checking with counties, hospitals from the area, and acquired enough tests on his own. Had to beg and borrow to get these tests, and then implemented them, and found out just how high the rate was. Scarily high in Hornell Gardens. It's been hardest hit, and then after that, we continued and said, let's test our other nursing homes in Steuben County, the other ones in Hornell, the other ones in Bath, and the same response from the Department of Health back then. We don't have to test for you. You got to do it on your own. It's just unconscionable that the Department of Health, with our most vulnerable settings, this congregate living where this COVID thrives, were areas that we were left on our own. And the governor saying several times, it's not my job to run the nursing homes. And no, he's not a nursing home administrator, but the Department of Health oversees nursing homes and has to make sure that they're following the rules and the guidelines and providing safe care. That was not done in this case, and the nursing homes were left to fend for themselves for PPEs, for testing kits for these testings. It boggles my mind that we were even having those discussions, let alone being a leader of it here in very rural upstate New York. Just imagine this magnified downstate with these issues going on. It's just unconscionable to me.
Down to the last couple of minutes with State Senator Tom O'Mara, a story breaking on the Empire Report New York website this morning. And it's a link to a CBS Channel 6 story out of Albany that they broke. It says nearly 2,000 COVID cases in New York State's state-run group homes for the developmentally disabled, over 300 deaths in these homes. When you click the link, the first paragraph says, we're aware of the problems in nursing homes, and very few people know about the situation in these these state-run group homes for the developmentally disabled. Any thoughts on this breaking story, Senator?
Yeah, I started reading about that yesterday. It's a very similar issue to the nursing homes. Well, I haven't had any direct contact with it in the 58th Senate District or across the Southern Tier yet. It's the congregate living situation. The homes for the developmentally disabled, there are not as many occupants as there are in nursing homes. They're a little smaller home settings, but staff coming in and out to assist individuals residing there that have disabilities. Very similar situation. So I'm not surprised to hear that, but I to yet have not had a specific issue in the Senate district that's come to my attention.
With that, we have to leave it. State Senator Tom O'Mara, I want to thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you, Brian, and have a great day.
Thank you, Senator. It's AM 1480 WLEA Hornell. Stay with us.